All right, Timberwolves fans, we're back. Victory Saturday today after a big win on Friday. I think Peyton's got a little tune to play after that big performance. Let's hear it. You're a little quiet over there. I don't know if we can hear you in the mic. All right. So I don't know what that was, but what I do know is our
No, let me
Timberwolves.
let me say this. If anyone can guess what song that was supposed to be, I'll send you $2. Venmo.
That's that's a pretty good payday. But so our Timberwolves, the tumultuous Timberwolves, the Timberwolves who kind of everyone's talked about is like I feel like everyone's been so down on them this past week, but I mean they barely lost to the Lakers down three key players, and then they come out and beat the brakes off of OKC last night, beat them by 25. I'm kind of loving this team right now, Peyton. I think they're hitting the stride at the right time.
I I wouldn't fully go that far to say we're fully hitting the stride, but I do think we're doing a lot better than we were. And I think there was a time when we had everyone and we were doing a lot like before the Pelicans breakdown or before the first Lakers loss, I think. I think we were really peaking then. But yeah, I do think I was at the game last night. I have to say. I think we're doing a lot better. And I'm going in pretty confident to this Denver series, if I'm going to be honest with you, Chris. I think we have a pretty good shot. We've played them well the last couple years. I don't know. I wouldn't count us out. I wouldn't, I'm not going to say we're going to win the series flat out, but I think we'll give them a run for sure.
Yeah, I mean we beat Denver twice this year. I think was it 2 out of 3? Did we look that up? I think
We
it was
didn't look it
two out
up,
of
but
three.
that sounds good.
Took 2 out of 3 games from them. One of the games we beat them by like 30, and
I was
I think we
there.
got
I was there.
we got them pretty good the other time too. So I mean, looking at the Western matchups right now, like I think you probably I know the Grizzlies are down a couple guys, but you probably like the Nuggets a little more than the Grizzlies. I mean,
I would rather play the Nuggets any day of the week. And like,
I think I would too. I think I would too thinking about it.
does Jokic does he get a lot of free throws
I don't know if he's like a Joel Embiid
or
level.
Ja Morant? Like, I just can't stand. I could not stand playing against. Like, I would love to play the Grizzlies just for like the rivalry aspect of it, but like, I don't think I could stand to watch that for a whole series. Like, at least the Nuggets play good basketball. Jokic, I love Jokic. I don't know why Jokic gets so much hate, but he's my MVP. I love him, and I also if you want to say the NBA is rigged and if they need the narrative to not have him be the MVP, him losing in the first round to the Timberwolves, there's no way he can be the MVP then. So I
True.
think,
I mean that'd be a tough look too if Timberwolves come in there beat the Nuggets in 6 games. We're getting a little too ahead of ourselves. I'm just happy they freaking won the final play-in game to get into the A seed. I think looking like at external expectations for this team from the media and from the fans, I mean, we've talked about it before. We were thinking top 4 seed, I think, all the way from the beginning of the season. But then, you have some unfortunate events with Cat going down and then Nas going down more recently, and then Jaden just breaking his hand. Like, there's been a
adversity.
lot of shit the Timberwolves have had to overcome this year, and I think they've done a decent enough job to overcome all of this and get themselves a spot in the playoffs. And as a Timberwolves fan who never gets to see them in the playoffs, and this is the first time in 19 years they made it back-to-back seasons, who the hell can complain? I mean,
Yeah,
the Timberwolves made the playoffs. I think that in itself is an accomplishment considering you missed Cat 3/4 of the season. So I'm really happy with where they are right now. We're not expecting them to beat Denver, but if they go out and put out a good show and win a couple games, I think that's all you can ask for. Get healthy next year, run it back, more chemistry. I don't know.
yeah,
That's kind of my way of looking at it.
yeah. And my first shout out, I kind of want to give the first topic is just how big three specific players that are kind of the role players, and they're also guys that we've added this year, even late in the year. I think Mike Conley, Nikhil Alexander Walker, and Kyle Anderson. Those three guys add so much maturity and so much just I wouldn't even say playoff experience because I don't know how much they all have, but just like they've been there before, or at least they act like they've been there before. And it's just so nice having that come off the bench.
Yeah, I mean, Mike and Kyle have been to like I think I don't have the exact numbers on me, but Conley's been to over I think 80 playoff games. Kyle Anderson's near the 50 playoff games mark. So I mean, having those two guys still healthy and being able to have Kyle come off the bench in that game, I think was massive. I think if maybe this is a formula that can work because I mean, if Jamal Murray is going to be coming back this series healthy, I think you probably want Nikhil on Jamal. And then you're gonna have to have Cat on Aaron Gordon and Rudy on Jokic. I mean, I don't hate that matchup, and I don't hate if Conley guards Jamal either. I think Anthony Edwards has a chance kind of to break out. I don't really see any defenders that can take him on this Nuggets team. So yeah, I mean, looking at the matchups, this team matches up fairly well with the Nuggets. They match up in size, which I think was the biggest thing for us last year. I think
Yeah.
the Grizzlies just had more size on us, and that they killed the offensive glass. And I think we could kind of carry some of that from the OKC game, killing the glass, being big, and kind of insert that into the Denver game. It'll be a bit harder, but I think the way we've played, the past few games, I think we have a shot.
And I think we're just so lucky this year to be the eighth seed. Like out of all the years to be the eighth seed, this might be the best year ever. Like there's no like 2018 Golden State Warriors. It's not like we're playing like the Milwaukee Bucks, like just an insane team. Like this is the best year to be the eighth seed in a long time. Like we actually have a shot to win this series. Like it's not like we're completely being counted out
I mean,
at
the,
all.
the you got to think too. Like the last time we were the eighth seed with Jimmy, and was it 2017? Yeah, 2017. I mean, that Rockets team was just so unbelievably good. The one seed Rockets, the hardened CP3 Rockets that almost beat Golden State. If they didn't give up, if they didn't blow like a 20-point lead in the second half, I think that Rockets team would
Wasn't
have
that
won the
wasn't that the
championship that
game where
year.
they shot 0 for
Yeah, they didn't make a
20
three in
from
the second
3?
half. It
No, the
was
whole game. I
crazy.
don't think they did.
Was it the whole
I
game?
think it was the whole game. They shot like 0 for 22 or something.
Yeah, so yeah, there's no Rockets team like that. We're not gonna run into Golden State. I mean, I'm okay with the Nuggets matchup.
And
I
yeah,
I'm really excited.
and like everyone, like the big talking point for Jokic is that he hasn't gone far in the playoffs. And like, damn, it's kind of true. Like he really hasn't proved himself in the playoffs. So I'd much rather be playing someone like him who hasn't proved himself in the playoffs than
Yeah,
someone like the Warriors who are they know exactly what they're doing. When playoff comes, they're ready.
you got to think like this Nuggets team is how good they've been the past three or 4 years. They made it to the Western Conference Finals once, and that was the bubble year too. So I mean,
Mickey
a
Mouse.
lot of random stuff happened during the bubble year, and that was kind of when Jamal Murray was breaking out, and Jokic was kind of in the shadows. So it was. I don't know. I don't know. We don't know what we're gonna get from this postseason, Nuggets team. It could it be like a Jazz scenario? I mean, we've seen the Jazz the past like 5 or 6 years previous to this one. They were always the 1, 2, 3 seed, and they could just never burst through. And maybe that's the Nuggets team we'll get. I don't has an eight's definitely beat a 1 seed in the NBA
Yeah.
before, right? It's
Oh yeah.
happened.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I think the Timberwolves are hitting their stride.
Yeah, and I think another point I want to bring up is the reason why I really love this Denver matchup is because not having Jaden McDaniels isn't as catastrophic now because we're playing the Nuggets, who they don't really have a star that he would guard and shut down. Like obviously Jamal Murray is very good, but like it's not like a Ja Morant or a LeBron James or a Steph Curry type of player that they have. Jokic is their best player and he's a big guy, so we're kind of covered there. So it's not like missing Jaden McDaniels will automatically have us lose this series. So I think that's a very positive thing to look at.
Yeah, I guess like looking at this Nuggets team, I think we don't know how Jamal Murray is going to be coming off the thumb injury. I mean, he was just in a cast this Wednesday and he couldn't shoot. So I mean, he's kind of a wild card for this series. I think Gordon and Jokic are a really good 4 or 5 pairing, but Cat and Rudy are a really good 4 or 5 pairing too. So I think those two can kind of cancel each other out, hopefully a little bit. I guess the wild card for the Nuggets is MPJ. I mean, what
Yeah.
I feel like every time I see him, he's a different player. I don't know what, like he's always just either on, off, hitting threes, bricking threes. I don't know. He's gonna be a guy that really needs to produce for them because I think too Conley can match a little bit of what Murray's bringing. I mean, Conley's been
He's been there.
one of the two best players
He's
on his
been
team.
so good, dude.
So I don't know. I think in our wild card too, to kind of touch on it, I think is Mr. Anthony Edwards. Is there some missing posters out right now? I haven't seen the guy in a few
Well,
games.
so we were at the game, and it's just the way I looked at it is it's a weird like analogy, but I used to play high school basketball. Took a couple years off, and then when I got back to playing like intramurals and stuff, like the moves that you think you could make, you're just not fast as quick as you used to be. Like you're slower. So it just seems like his first step is slower. Like he's not able to get around the people that he was able to get around at the beginning of the year. And his moves just aren't work like even when he gets to the basket, it's always hard. Like he never has a clean lane to the basket. And I don't know if that's because he's getting face guarded and he's like the number one priority of the defenses. Like Lou Dort was locking him up. I don't remember who was guarding him in the Lakers game. Was it?
He was getting Vandoed in the Lakers game.
Yeah,
Vando did a
Vando.
great job on him.
Yeah. So like he's been the number one priority of the defense. I don't know if he's really had to deal with that much in his career. I don't know. And obviously we're talking about the wear and tear. This guy doesn't miss games. Like he's played almost every game this year. He goes out with a sprained ankle. He probably could have sat out like a couple weeks, but he came right back. So like it's a long season and his body is definitely getting worn down and you can just tell. And his shots when his jump shot's not falling, I don't know, man. We haven't
Yeah,
seen
see
the Anthony Edwards I know for a while.
that you made a couple good points there. I think there's two things that maybe three. Like, yeah, I think the first thing is that first step isn't as quick, and I think he's just played so many games this year. The injuries are kind of piling up a little bit for him. So yeah, I think he's definitely a little slower, but hopefully, this playoff adrenaline gets to him and he can pick that up a little bit. And I think the second thing too is the 3-point percentage has dropped immensely these past 5, 6, 7 games. And the 3-point shot really opens his game up because if he's
Yeah.
hitting those, just his he only takes really one type of three, and that's just squared up to the defender. He's stepping around and he just pulls it right in the face. And once those start hitting, they have to come get up on him, and then he can go right by him. The lanes open up a little bit more. So I think the 3-point shot not dropping for him has been like half of his offense is just gone now. And I think I don't know if it like and he's like because he's hurt and he's maybe losing a step right now. He's not getting to the rim as much. So like teams are doubling him too. He's just he's more of a priority right now. I think some wear and tear on his body, but I think he's gonna be ready to go. I hope he showed that was his mantra before the Lakers game is Ant shows up in the big games and then the Lakers game hit and you're like, whoa, like what happened? And I guess kind of getting into something we were talking about before too is like the local perception on him because I feel like at the moment he's like the golden child, and that's understandable. I think both of us really love his game. We think he can be a super great player. But I don't think he should be immune to criticism
Yeah.
like Cat's always get. Cat is I think Cat's a better player than this player, but Cat is the Kirk Cousins of the Timberwolves. I think he never really gets the credit when he goes out there and has a game like he did the last game,
The
and he had
last three. The
yeah
last three games
yeah
he's played out of his mind. He's been
like
the reason we've won the last three games.
and if I'm just
Or I guess we lost the Lakers, but
I think there's a bit of a double standard because like we don't if that was Ant that did that the past 3 games, I think we'd be crowning him and as we should if he did that. And I think Cat does I think there's two things. I think Cat deserves a little bit more praise for what he's doing post calf injury. And I think it's okay to be critical of how Ant's played, not in a bad way. I just think it's okay to point out that it wasn't a few good games and that he needs to step up. I mean, there's nothing else to say there.
yeah, no, there's no or like when Cat has a bad game, maybe we just relax a little bit and be like, wow, like he comes up, he shows up every single game. He's so consistent during the regular season. And literally the only thing that can stop Cat is fouls. That is the like no other way can no defender has been able to really stop him ever. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, no,
frustrating, man. It is. And Ant as well. Like, yeah, he deserves to be criticized. And I think the thing is though, is like Ant would criticize himself too. Like we're not being like we're not attacking him. We're just saying the
no.
dude needs to play better. And I guarantee you, if we told him that, he'd be like, yeah, you're right. I do need to play better.
Yeah, we just gotta if those first few threes start dropping for him,
Yeah,
I think it's helps him out so much and
I
helps him
gotta
be a little more aggressive
yeah,
too.
I got a point I want to bring up with that. I was noticing this last night when I was getting so funny moments. So I was sitting next to my little brother at the game, and it was after Gildas Alexander went to the line the third straight time down the court for a tic tac foul. And I was like, I guarantee you, like, and me and Chris had been texting on and off during the game. I told Henry, I said, I guarantee you, Chris is texting me that he's pissed about Shea Gildas Alexander. And I had my do not disturb on. So I just go click on my phone. The first text message is what did it say? Shea's a bitch or something.
I see you can get in the moment, get heated. I think Shea was doing the smart thing. I think
Yeah.
he was able to draw a lot of those fouls, and I think
So
TP was getting a little handsy, and Shea was able
sure.
to kind of use those hands to get to the line. I think he did a good job of that, and
That's my
that's the
point.
point. That's with
That's what I'm
Anthony Edwards.
that's
Exactly.
exactly that's
Tie it
why I
all
brought up
back.
the that's my story is that I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, I'm getting so mad at Gillis Alexander, but why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
Especially when your shot's not falling. His wasn't. I think he shot 4 for 16. But when you can go to the line and get your 10 points at the free throw line and also stop the clock while doing it when you're down, I don't know how many free throws Anthony Edwards shot, but there's never been a situation where I've been like, wow, Ant is shooting a lot of free throws, or wow, Ant's getting these questionable calls because he's not aggressive. He doesn't really attack that much. So that's something he's got to add to his game because when you look at these elite superstars, sure, it gets annoying, but they all use the whistle to their advantage. They all use that superstar whistle all the time, and I don't get why Ant doesn't do it more.
Yeah, that was a great point. I think that's what a lot of us have been kind of calling for, and I know like I don't think Ant gets the best whistle, but I think he's got to learn how to draw contact like Shea does. I know you were at the game, so you didn't get all the replays, but it's amazing what he like how he manipulates the defenders with his offhand, and he gets their hands within his body, and like I
Yeah,
think once Ant adds that to his game, so when these struggles, these patches of 4 of 11 come along, he can get to the line and get a rhythm. So
yeah,
I think
exactly.
that's
That
something
opens
that could
everything else. That opens everything else up. Once you start seeing a
yeah.
few free throws go down, then that 3 pointer's a little bit easier to hit. But if you're only getting like 5 3 pointers and a half, and that's the only shot you're getting, obviously it's going to be hard once you've missed the first four to hit the fifth.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. So we went over Ant, we went over Cat had a phenomenal game. I think my man Rudy Gobert deserves a heck of a lot of praise this
Bro,
game, man.
he dominated. A point that we always bring up with, or at least that I bring up with Gobert all the time, is that the dude has been doing all season what we brought him in to do. It's not like he's been had a really that bad of a season. He does exactly what he's supposed to do. That he has the potential for a 2020 game every single time. And sure, he makes atrocious plays sometimes. Like sometimes he will miss the easiest dunk I've ever seen. Miss like just a horrible layup, and it's easy to clown him. He'll airball or free throw, but dude, the amount of times they went up for a layup and him just being there forced the miss. He didn't get a block, he didn't get a rebound, but just his presence, that is something we have never had before on this Timberwolves team, and it makes us so much better having him on the court.
Man, I was just really appreciative that like he's been pretty vocal about how his back's been killing him. He wasn't even if you noticed, he didn't really jump a lot that game because his back was hurting so much. All he jumped on was lobs, and like for him to go out there after all that shit, you knew he was gonna get booed, and I hated that they booed him when he
Oh
got
yeah,
his name announced. You knew you're going out there getting booed. You have to win the fans back. I think he did everything perfect last night. I think he was the defender. He was the guy who made us feel like big in the
like a
paint. He
real
was the guy
team.
who was grabbing the rebounds, grabbing the offensive boards, not letting the Thunder get to the paint. I thought Rudy had one of his best games of the season. I thought he was like besides Cat, the second main reason we won that game.
It's it's so hard for me to for me to like comprehend this trade because looking into the future, sure, it's horrible, but like when you're present right now and you're like last year, all we needed was a big guy to play the five so Cat could play the four and have someone who could play defense so Cat doesn't have to guard the fives. And that's all we needed. And we literally went and got the best one in the league. And now we have him. And it's like right now, like that completes our team. Like having him, it makes us a threat in the playoffs. And it's
Yeah,
awesome.
man.
But
I
like,
agree. I
yeah,
agree.
like presently right now, like having Rudy Gobert is amazing. But it might hurt us in the future. But like if you're just looking right now, it's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's like when people were saying we were better without Cat. Like that's just absolutely crazy to say. It's we're better with Rudy and Cat. We're better with a full healthy team. And I think I was kind of on the side of like you can't possibly run this back again. But after I guess excluding the Pelicans game because Rudy got thrown out, but I really do want to see them run it back fully healthy again. And I
Yeah.
hope there's some way you can do like the Nas for Torian exchange, give Nas the contract, Torian walks. Or even if Nas walks and you keep Torian on a good contract, like I think you run the same team back because I don't think they go 5-10 in teams and to teams in the lottery next year like they did this year. I think they probably flip that and go 10-5, and I don't think the Wolves get enough love for like we beat a lot of good teams this year, like without Cat. I think that's the thing that like, yeah, we sucked against really bad teams, but we won the only the only reason we made the A seed is because we beat the good teams. Because we suck so bad against the bad ones, we had to beat the good ones. And I give them a lot of credit for that. I really do now, especially after seeing last night's game. I'm like, I think a full off season of gelling again. I think after 1 year under their belts, and I think Conley running the show next year too. I want
He's
to see this team run it back. I
he's
do.
a real point guard, man. We haven't had that in a long time either. He's so good, Mike Conley, and
So good.
he brings so much presence. And dude, I leaned over to my brother during the game. I said, "This guy is so much better than Pat Bev."
Yeah. Yeah.
And he brings the veteran presence without all the antics. Like I love Pat Bev, don't get me wrong, but I was really upset when we got rid of him. I was like, it's over. Like we have no more culture. But like Mike Conley brings the culture without the noise. Like he's a real leader. He just shuts up and works.
You
No
could make
tech.
the argument. I think Mike Conley might have saved this team.
No, dude,
I
not
legit.
even. It's not even an argument. I think that you could make that statement. Like that's
Yeah.
just a statement. He's the reason we're still in the playoffs. He's the reason we're looking halfway decent because he also is the only player that can really bring the best out of Rudy Gobert. I think he's one of the only people that he is the only guy that's
Him and
ever.
Kyle. I mean, Kyle last night too was. I think Kyle. I think Kyle made it a point last night to throw
Yes,
as many
yes,
lobs as he possibly could.
yes,
I love
yes,
seeing
and they
that.
made sure to dap each other up a lot
Oh yeah.
too. A lot of hand like they had to show it they were past it, and I think that was it was cool to see. Another point I want to bring up, um, dude, everyone's talking about how horrible the Gobert trade was. Fine, you could talk about that, but how about how great the D'Angelo Russell trade was for us?
That was my next point. I was gonna say that trade looks more and more like a fleece every single day, and especially with how Conley played against the Lakers and how
How
D'Lo played against us.
Yeah, wait.
Like,
So let me get this right. So we traded D'Lo,
mm-hmm.
and we got Mike Conley, Nikhil Alexander Walker, and 3 second-round picks,
Yes.
and we got rid of D'Lo's contract.
Yes, we actually saved a contract slot by getting a player because D'Lo's would have expired, and since we're over the cap, we wouldn't have got to renew that spot. But getting Mike for 2 years saves that contract spot, so we can keep paying a player that much money. So it's good. We get another point guard for next year too with Mike.
Yeah, so
It's a great trade.
that is an insane trade.
How about Tim Connolly too, crediting him with that trade? And how about TC telling Chris Finch to start Nikhil Alexander Walker? Chris Finch going, okay, and it works out beautifully.
I did not. I never heard that.
Did you? So yeah, that the idea to start Nikhil was Tim Conley's. That's what Finch said post game.
So to guard Shea, is that why?
Yeah, otherwise they would have had TP in there. That was the plan, but they started Nikhil,
Dude,
but gave him the assignment.
I mean, it's blood, man. It's funny how so many people don't know that they're cousins.
It is wild. Ant thought they were brothers at the end of the game. He's a funny dude. But yeah, like couldn't have asked for a better
Wait,
job on him. Couldn't have
all
asked
right.
for a better job.
So let's this is another question I have. So how does it make sense? So Shea Gildas Alexander, Nikhil Alexander Walker. How are they related? And why is the Alexander in a different spot in their last names? How does that work?
I don't know. I have no clue.
Does it?
I know they are first cousins. I don't know if I think the isn't the joke is like, yeah, they're just like cousins, but they randomly just have they both have hyphenated names. I don't think it's like a
Well, no, yeah, I know, but is like the hyphen, is it usually like the wife name goes first and then the
yeah, maybe the other side mixed it. Like maybe the
yeah, so
one
I'm
side
saying
had the maiden name first and the other
I don't
side
know.
was the yeah, I know what you mean. I think like Gilgis Alexander. So Alexander's dad was Alexander, and then that brother still wanted to keep the Alexander in there, and that was Nikhil's mom or dad. Like,
Okay,
yeah, I
okay,
think
okay. So one of them one of them is like so it's Shay's dad is sisters with Nikhil's mom
probably that's probably what the
or the
deal is,
opposite way. Okay.
and
All
that
right.
and Nikhil's mom probably just wanted to keep the
Yeah, so that's
Alexander in
why
the name.
that's why the names are mixed
Yeah,
up is because
yeah,
one's a male man and one's a woman.
figured it out.
That's
We
awesome.
figured
That's
it out.
something I've been thinking about that. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
they had a couple cool stories during the game too on the telecast. They were talking about like Shay's dad like used to train the both of them, and that's like Nikhil like knew like yeah Nikhil knew how to guard him because they grew up together guarding
yeah,
each other,
dude, and there
getting
was
training
some
together.
I think the coolest thing is like when someone tries to get by someone and then they're forced to like retreat and then while they're retreating the person like still like stays with them and then the crowd gets into it. Like there was a few moments that during the game where Nikhil was just locking up Shay. And I think half the time Shay ended up getting a wide open shot still because he's incredible. But yeah, like that's probably the best person in the league to guard Shay is his cousin who's been training with him his whole life.
And the thing with Nikhil too is like when he just plays good defense and doesn't try to force too much on offense, and he gives you these games of like 11 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals, like how valuable he is when he just does that. And he can do that. And that's what he was doing right when he got traded. I think he had a little bit of a lull. I think the shot wasn't falling as much for a few games. And then now the like the last 10 games of the season, I thought he's been awesome. So I'm excited. I would love to bring him back. I don't know. He's an RFA this offseason, but I think you could probably get him for
Yeah, and
fairly cheap.
I think he has a really big opportunity here to do what Jaden could have done in the playoffs. And
Yeah.
like I feel like the playoffs, like even if we don't go far, like it's a chance for players to like step up and be like, boom, I can play in the playoffs. I can defend in the playoffs. I can step up. Like no one cares about the regular season. If Alexander Walker comes up and just averages that exactly we're talking, 10 points, 5 assists, 3 steals, guards one of their best players, you're gonna have to sign him a contract. And if we don't, someone else easily will. Like it's a huge opportunity for him.
Yeah, that's a good part of the trade too. Hey, him being an RFA and us having his rights now, like whatever deal a team gives to him, we can match that. So I mean, that's another good piece that we have too. So it's hell of a trade, Tim Conley. Hell of a play to tell Chris Finch to play him. So I don't know.
Oh, one more point. Before we move on to the next game, I want to bring up one more point. Dude, why the fuck did Finch challenge that play?
Yeah, that was an early challenge.
Early chat. I mean, and again, the challenge rules come back to bite us because that should just be a play where the refs go, okay, we need to go look at
See
that because
this is the issue with the NBA challenge system is like that was just such a blatantly obvious. He dribbled it off his foot, like it, and it
we
didn't
sh-
end up biting the Timberwolves because that was a good play. I mean, they won the challenge, got an extra possession, and then like we were up by a ton, so we didn't need it at the end of the game. But yeah, I think they got to implement the like you get the challenge right, you win it, and maybe you don't get maybe you just get an extra one, and after that you're done. But like it can't just be one challenge that you win because it can change the game. Like you not having a challenge with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter and a play just happens, the ref gets it completely wrong. Like it's such a momentum shift.
yeah. All right. Well, so we'll put that behind us. The regular season, the pre-postseason, whatever, it's all gone. Now it's playoffs. Now we we're in a real playoff series against the number one seed in the West with the three-time reigning MVP of the league that we're playing against. I mean, what are your thoughts going into it? What are your expectations? Um, What do you need to see to be satisfied with the season? To have the season end in a positive light for you? Do we need to win the series? Do we need to force a game 7? How are you going to be okay with this season?
If we were a fully healthy squad, I think winning the series would be the goal. But I think with this team, I kind of want them to do what we did to the Grizzlies last year without the blowing the leads. Like I think putting up 2 to 3 good wins against the 1 seed is an absolute success. I think getting here in the first place with a depleted team, I think was a success too. I think that was big just to get into the playoffs. But I think, yeah, just if they make it competitive, I think that's a success. Ant gets some playoff experience. It sucks Jaden does it, but you get this team some playoff experience heading into the next off season, some more chemistry, and I think that's where your head's got to be at. I think expecting them to win this series is you can never expect a 8th seed to go upset a 1 seed, but you can expect good play. I think with what the Pelicans did last year, who was the 1 seed when the Pelicans took them to 6 games? Um, it was the Suns. It was
Suns.
the Suns. Yeah, I think something like that. I think taking them to 6 or 7 games, I think is a lofty but doable goal, and I think that's what I'd be happy with.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think it needs to be a competitive playoff series. We need to scare them, or I do realistically think we can win this series. I think we got a
I
pretty
think
good
there's a
shot. I
way.
think I think the first 2 games are pivotal. I think if we can come back to Minnesota with 1 win, then you get the home court advantage. Like that would be huge. I don't know if it's possible or probable, but if we can get 1 win in Denver, that'd be big. And if we don't, yeah, as long as we play them close, we don't want any blowouts, any of that shit. I don't
And
know.
that was the path last year too, because that's why me and you were so excited, dude. Game 1, they go in there and beat the Grizzlies at the Grizzlies place. Like that was
Yeah,
it's such a momentum shift, and that's what everyone was talking about the Wolves last year after they won that game. The narrative kind of changed. The guys got a little more confident. They were beating the Grizzlies by 20 multiple times,
yes.
and I think they were just a little too young to keep those leads. And I know we've
Now
had
we
issues with the leads this year, but we have playoff experience on this team, and that's something the Nuggets like don't have a ton of. So
Yeah,
it's
we have Mike
interesting.
Conley, bro. We have Mike Conley now. I think that just having Mike Conley will makes me feel at least a little bit better when we're blowing leads and stuff. I think that he won't allow that. But yeah,
You hope.
I don't know. I mean, I don't see anything past this round. Like I don't see any chance that the Wolves make a run to the Western Conference Finals. But so like this is kind of our Super Bowl, and we have no expectations. We're the underdogs again. We're the 8th seed. We have our best defender gone. Like it's another situation where we're the underdogs, no expectations. I mean, let's just see what we can do, honestly.
Yeah, man. And I mean, Finchie's gonna have to expand the rotation. I think people have been talking about that too. Like, I don't know, man. What about the lawnmower, Josh Minot
Quick
getting
7.
5 minutes maybe? Just take some, just take a few minutes to give some guys some rest for a little bit. I don't.
I'd rather
I
have him
kind of
out
like
there than
Minot,
Nate.
man.
I like him better than Nate Knight, man. Nate, I don't
Bro.
love Nate Knight.
I think Nate forgot how to play basketball because usually he comes in and he gives you some okay rotational minutes, but like he just looks like he's nervous now. I
It
think
looks
that
like his
Lakers
feet
game
weigh
really,
like 100 pounds. Like he just looks slow out there.
yeah.
Um, yeah, J Mac, bro. Why does he gets blocked every time he shoots it now?
I don't know what happened to him, man. I think he
He's
lost a step too. I think his quickness kind of is down. I think that was his big weapon, and
But he's also a player where like I'm not gonna count him out because there's been so many times where he's been that guy to step in when we need him and play really well. So like I'm not too worried about him. Like I could see him making an impact. It sucks we don't have Garza. It would have been why didn't we re-sign him?
I don't know. I would have had Garza overnight.
Yeah,
That's what
and then well
I would have signed him.
especially with Reed out, like it would just be nice to have someone consistent like that. But I don't know. So we play Sunday. Do we play tomorrow already?
Play tomorrow. We have the late slate of games because we're in the Western Conference for some reason. But yeah, I think it's 8:50. I want to say or something like that. So quick turnaround heading to Denver. I don't know. It's exciting. I was watching a little bit of the Philly game today, and it was getting me a little excited for the playoffs. I might tune into the Warriors Kings game. I think that'll be an interesting series. I got the Warriors, but I'm hoping the Kings put up a little bit of a fight. I think that'd be cool for them.
Yeah, I think they're heavily underrated. Kings.
I can see it, man. Like they scored. They led the NBA in scoring, right? Is
Yeah,
that kind of made up stat?
yeah. No, they've been great all season, but it's because it's the Kings, small market team. No one wants to give them any credit.
And
Um,
you're playing a healthy Warriors team too with Wiggins now. So I mean, that's never
it's
the team you want to
unfortunate.
play. Yeah.
It's unfortunate for them, but I don't know, man. I think we covered a lot here. Thank you everyone tuning in. It kind of, me and Chris kind of lost the spark for a little bit,
That's
but and no one was watching our stuff. But now, we're getting a few people watching again. The comments are going. It kind of brings it back to life. So we appreciate you guys watching, commenting, liking, whatever. We just want to talk Wolves. It's awesome.
yeah. Hopefully the next time we talk to you guys, there's a big W tomorrow night against the Nuggets. And man, if they beat the Nuggets the first night,
Then we'll have to do another podcast,
should we
bro.
do a post? And we might even have to throw in post game. Might be a little late with the
That'd be a
9
little
o'clock
late.
start.
But
Maybe
yeah,
then for sure the Monday though, if they could pull out a win.
I mean, even if they lose, maybe. Yeah, just because it's so easy now. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the quality has gone down. We don't have any editing. It's just kind of the Zoom recording, but that makes it a lot easier just to call Chris, talk Wolves, 40 minutes, upload it. Boom. Easy. Easy money, so it's a lot easier.
Heck yeah. If you guys wanna keep hearing us talk throughout the playoffs, leave a like and leave a comment. I like the comments. I like seeing what you guys agree or not. I know we had some disagrees last video, but I like that.
Of
I like
course.
the differing opinions.
Of course. All right. Thank you guys. Have a good rest of your weekend. Go Wolves.